Good morning. Welcome to First UU. My name is Jarrett Cook. I use he, they pronouns. I am a tall, lanky male with long, straight hair and glasses. Let us begin by acknowledging that we are gathered on the traditional territory of Niu Konska people, known sometimes by the name Osage. The descendants of the people who were forcibly removed from this land by colonists make up the Osage Nation. We acknowledge their continued struggle for justice.
Good morning. My name is Anna. My pronouns are she, her. I am a somewhat short, because I'm using the step stool, woman with short blonde hair, some beautiful natural gray highlights happening, and brown eyes. All right. Our chalice lighter in the sanctuary is Reverend Michelle. All right. I'll ask in this moment that we remember the words of Rebecca Parker. There is a love holding us. There is a love holding all.
Now see and do what's right, give hope and comfort when your life is chalice burning.
All right. Hello again. This time when I say I mean I, AJ. I am the Director of Religious Education. I use they, them pronouns, and I am very glad to be here with you this morning. This week marks what would have been the 51st anniversary of Roe v. Wade. And in that, we're going to be talking about abortions. Some of us here in this space, some of us online, some of us might not have it in us today to think about abortions, and that's okay. We aren't speaking graphically or catastrophically, but it is part of the Unitarian Universalist values to honor the importance of reproductive justice and of bodily autonomy. Bodily autonomy means our right to control our own body and make choices about our body. And we're naming that in this space this morning. So please do whatever you need to take care of yourself in this. Sometimes we see people in this space put on some headphones and suddenly it looks like they're not paying as much attention. That's okay. That's them taking the space they need. There's a chanting room right out here that has a stream of the service. If you need just a little more space, there's a wiggle room downstairs if you need a little more space. All right. We all have bodies. Hold up your hand if you have a body.
I left it at home.
Okay. Everyone here has a body, and bodies are wonderful things, truly phenomenal. They are what allow us to interact with the world. And we take care of our bodies in a whole lot of ways. Can anyone name, I'll amplify it for Zoom and for the rest of us, name a way we take care of our bodies? Veronica suggested that making good choices surrounding lactose-free things, if you are lactose intolerant, is a way we can take care of our bodies. Getting enough sleep is a way we can take care of our body. hydrate, water. I always forget about water. It's an important one. Brushing your hair. We may have had that conversation this morning. Yeah. Yeah. These
Sleep, sleep, sleep.
sleep, 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 sleep. You've got to wear shoes when your toes are cold. Resting, resting when we're sick. These are all ways that we take care of our body. Sometimes we can't take care of our body all by ourselves, and we go to a doctor for healthcare. I had a friend just this week that had to go to the doctor to get all 4 of their wisdom teeth removed. It was a whole surgery, but their teeth were causing them pain. And luckily, a doctor was able to remove the teeth that were causing pain, and they were able to start healing. So there's a thing happening where sometimes a person who is pregnant can't be pregnant anymore. They need to not be pregnant. And they go to the doctor and ask the doctor through a medicine or through surgery to make it so they're no longer pregnant. This is called an abortion. 51 years ago, there was a very important court case in a very important court called the Supreme Court that decided that doctors all over the country should be able to help provide abortions when people needed them. A year and a half ago, the same court decided that they no longer would protect abortion access. Some doctors could, depending on the state they live in, still provide abortions. But instead of the person or the doctor deciding, the state gets to decide first. And a whole lot of state leaders quickly decided that they didn't want people who lived in their states to have the right to get abortions. So people that live in those states, and Missouri, our state is one of those states, aren't allowed to get abortions in this state anymore. Even if they need them, even if they're sick because of the pregnancy, even if they really, really can't be pregnant, they cannot get an abortion here. Sometimes they can leave the state and get an abortion from a doctor in a different place, but they can't get one here. And that makes a lot of people feel a lot of different ways. Mostly in Unitarian Universalist spaces, we have people who, well, let me ask you, when I say that you can't get an abortion here in Missouri, how does that make you feel? Angry? Scared? Irritated? Yep. I heard in danger. Disgusted. Somebody. Okay. Makes you feel hands made tail style, right? Vulnerable, right? I'm hearing a lot of like fight or flight words, right? It's endangered, bad in general. But second class citizens, oppressed, sad. Bodily autonomy. That says being able to say what happens to your body and consent, being able to say no to things happening with your body, are value issues. Even adults feel really big, sad, angry feelings, right? And we just heard a lot of big, sad, angry feelings from adults about the idea that the state is telling doctors that they can't help people in pregnancies. It's not safe. And it's a violation of bodily autonomy and consent. Today, we're going to be hearing from Reverend Michelle talk about liberating love, the theme of the month, in this post-Roe moment. And we're going to have a guided body blessing, and we're going to watch a music video together. We trust you to engage with all of this as you choose. The wiggle room, the chanting room, these are all available throughout the service. Please take the space you need. And with that, Reverend Michelle Scott Huffman.
Once I fell off a chancel in a church, so I try not to be any higher than I need to be the ground. So good morning, I'm Reverend Michelle Scott Huffman. My pronouns are she, her. I am a middle-aged, pale-skinned woman with dark, spiky hair, making this thing feedback in some way. I'm glad to be here with you today, because yesterday we didn't get to see each other, or not, last week we didn't get to see each other in person. So it's good to be in this space and to be on Zoom with all of our friends. Today, you may or may not know, is World Religions Day. It's also Roe Sunday, lifting up what would have been the 51st anniversary of Roe v. Wade, the decision that protected the right of a pregnant person to have an abortion, a right that has been recently taken away in several states and remains tenuous in many others. And it's the day that we're focused on the UUA Article 2 Study Commission's decision to place love at the center of the graphic depicting our values, which you can see on the whiteboard. I tried really hard this morning. And then AJ came along and tried to fix it. And it's also on the screen. So, and hopefully the folks on Zoom will get a peek at that as well. This is the graphic depiction of the statement of our values that we'll vote on this summer at General Assembly, finally, to be in our bylaws as Article 2. And you'll see that love is at the center of that circle of values, that sort of flower. As I think about the intersections of all three of these things, World Religions Day, Roe Sunday, and love at the center, I can't help but think about all the ways that liberal faith leaders from many religious groups worked together in the pre-Roe times, and the ways that liberal faith leaders will need to work together again in these post-Roe times. There are a lot of beautiful pieces in this service today that aren't my words, so I'm going to keep my words brief. Gillian Frank, a fellow at the Center for the Study of Religion at Princeton University, writes, in the half-decade before Roe v. Wade, respected religious leaders participated in a nationwide struggle to make abortion more accessible. This largely forgotten history undercuts the popular myth that religious people oppose abortion rights. As far back as 1967, mainline Protestants and Reformed Jews called for the liberalization of abortion laws. A group of clergy in New York City founded Clergy Consultation Service on Abortion, or CCS, an international network of clergy that helped women obtain legal and illegal abortions from licensed medical professionals. Recovering the history of the CCS reminds us that contemporary demands for reproductive rights and abortion access, far from being secular or immoral, had and continue to have deep moral and religious roots. In fact, Reverend Charles Landreth of First Presbyterian Church in Tallahassee, Florida, proclaimed in 1971, "Whenever we try to make conditions for each other more human, we are engaged in religious pursuit." And to help meet the contemporary demands, an organization called Sacred has come online. Sacred stands for Spiritual Alliance of Communities for Reproductive Dignity. I'll say that again, Spiritual Alliance of Communities for Reproductive Dignity. They came online and began to organize people of faith to once again be leaders in the work to maintain access to safe and legal abortions. Their scope is wider than that and aligned with our values in so many ways. So according to the Sacred website, they exist as a people of faith, saying we cannot abide the suffering and oppression caused by reproductive injustice, the stripping of people's bodily autonomy and moral agency, the inaccessibility of birth control, abortion, and maternal health care for many, the meager wages that don't support parenting. You remember last week the conversation about upstream forces? The poverty, ill health, racial and gender inequalities, and domestic violence stemming from a lack of reproductive autonomy. The over-policing and polluting of children's neighborhoods, especially in communities of color. The soul injury and dignity and shame heaped by religious institutions upon those choosing not or unable to procreate. All of these conditions are morally reprehensible, and we are spiritually stirred to end them. Social movements need both numeric and moral power. Sacred's alliance and coalition partnerships bring exactly that. But this starts with the recognition that certain religious groups and hijackers of religion have done a disproportionate amount of damage to healthy sexuality and reproductive dignity in this country. Therefore, Sacred says, religious people are uniquely positioned and have a disproportionate role to play in creating healing and justice. Sacred, like the CCS before it, has engaged over 4,000 religious leaders in 40 states from 30 different religious traditions and denominations, and they're just getting started. Several of us in this congregation were trained in the facilitation of a sacred reproductive justice curriculum, and hopefully we can make it among our faith formation offerings in the coming year, because unfortunately, it doesn't look like we'll be making much legislative or judicial progress anytime soon. In the absence of equitable, affordable care for each person that honors their human dignity and bodily autonomy, we will continue to be called to live out our values in love. Our willingness and ability to collaborate with others, even across lines of theological and ideological differences, reflects a commitment to our own values, as you see in the graphic, of interdependence, equity, transformation, pluralism, generosity, and justice. And love is the vehicle through which those values come alive in our hearts and in our communities. So if you're looking at this image from the UUA Article 2 Commission and see love at the center, we note that love isn't just one of the values that are listed. It's instead connected to all of them. Love is both the impetus and the follow-through. It's the connecting point between pluralism and interdependence, between generosity and equity, between transformation and justice. It is both a starting point and a culmination. And if it's truly love, it's always liberative. Some of us have had considerable conversation this month about just what love is and where it resides. For some of us, it's purely a heart thing. For others, it's a choice and it's a head thing. What I do know, though, is that it lives in our bodies. And when we can get back in our bodies, we can experience embodied love ourselves and share it in turn with others, caring deeply then for bodies that are not ours. A couple weeks ago, I got the chance to meet Cole Arthur Riley, the author of the book, This Here Flesh. And she signed my book, and what she wrote in it was, Michelle, stay in your body. Love, Cole. So I want to share that suggestion with you as a way for us to access love wherever it originates and live inside us, to stay in our body, to be the very embodiment of love, to recognize that love is not just a thing that we think or that we feel, but that moves us into a place of action. It's a thing that we do. Toward that end, in just a little bit, we'll be experiencing a body blessing by Reverend Lisa Bovey-Kempker. I invite you to truly receive this blessing in your body today so that you might be more fully able to feel blessed yourself and to prepare to bless and protect the bodies of others. May it be so. Blessed be, and amen. Please join us now as we rise together in body or spirit to sing our hymn of the month, number 95, There Is More Love.